It'd be good. It'd be good.
After we're all like a lot more
anyway. Yeah, for sure.
This will be like gold, like the lost tapes from.
Yeah. Harrison Ford will find them.
Mm-hmm.
Just as Harrison Ford, it won't even be like
No,
Indiana Jones.
As Han Solo.
Right. Yeah, clearly. As Chewbacca, as we all know, Harrison Ford famous for playing Chewbacca. Which I want that to be the show title. No one will get it. It'll be good. Hey everybody, welcome to the USL show, sponsored by the Beautiful Game Network of podcasts, of which you can find all of those podcasts at the BGNFM on the Twitters and BGN.FM on the internet. Just type that into your browser for whatever website you use and go for it. Unless we start making you pay for it because net neutrality. We're also brought to you by Roughneck Scarves, which you can find at Roughneck Scarves. They don't make you pay to visit their website as well, but that's your home for men's and women's national team, USL, MLS scarves, as well as scarves for custom fundraisers, things like that. I'm your host as always, the lovely voice behind the show, and gay icon now, I think is a safe assumption. Evan Villela, joined as always by four of my favorite soccer friends. The waviest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area, Phil Grooms.
Hey.
So, for everyone that doesn't know, you look like Neve from Catfish now that your hair's short.
I saw that, and I had to Google who he is. And I'm not upset because he's not a bad looking fellow.
He's not. No,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but I just think it'd be funny if we did like a USL Catfish kind of thing.
Yeah, I would love that. I think it'd
be pretty good. It'd be pretty good. I don't know who would be involved, but I would like it. It is the best parts of Chuck Palahniuk and Elliott Smith combined into one. It is Portland's favorite non-lumberjack and the biggest member of the podcast, Big Kevin McCamish.
What's up?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
Good.
Are you actually Portland's favorite non-lumberjack? I feel like you are.
I think as far as the USL and maybe the second team is concerned, yes, let's go with that for sure.
Okay, great. I just meant the city in general, and I think I'm still right.
Probably.
Okay, yeah. It's the man that puts the show in show notes. It is our international correspondent, Ryan Allen.
Hello, I did some digging earlier in the week, and I found that Prague, Nebraska was the geographic midpoint of all our clubs' respective stadiums.
Yeah.
So that'll be our neutral meeting ground at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Live from Prague.
USL show presents the Gulag.
Wow. They got a baseball field in the city, so NYCFC could one time play there.
They could. Louisville will play there next year.
Still a big day.
Yeah. And someone that wowed at my communism reference because, whatever. I make jokes for two people. It's fine. It's everyone's favorite brony, Pony.
I just not go more than 2 minutes without a communist comment, but USL show.
Comrade, it's okay. We'll get through it together. Guys, I don't know if you know. I know that some people know, but we'll just tell everybody. This is a podcast that covers the entire United Soccer League, which is one of the most prominent second division soccer leagues in the world.
Hold on.
And for some reason, we were given the keys to this whole thing, and that's terrifying. Yeah, Phil?
I was just making sure this isn't the absolute best second division in the world.
Who are you asking, and how much are you paying me to say that?
It's certainly the best second division in North America, right?
Mexico?
Nah.
Hopefully we'll find out.
Hey.
Hopefully we'll find out with the internet.
Go back a couple episodes and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Hey, guy. The good news, guys. Speaking of second division things happening, there was Open Cup games that got played, and we did all right.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville, Nashville, and Sacramento all beat MLS teams to advance to round 16 of the US Open Cup, in which Louisville and Nashville will play each other, which will be fun. Louisville defeated New England 3-2 at home, with chants of USL recording or echoing around the stadium. Phil, good job on catching that one.
Man.
Nashville beat the Colorado Rapids 2-0. Not a great pitch. Looking at you, Vanderbilt. but win's a win. And then Sacramento beats Seattle 2-1 at home. So, yeah, guys, any thoughts on the successes here?
Louisville looked kind of dominant. You
Yeah.
know, there were like 2 howlers, and then they looked amazing, really. And their New England's own coach went off on his own team after. I mean, it was like, dude was spitting fire against his own players, saying they weren't good enough. They didn't want it bad enough. I told them they were going to have to work hard to beat this team, and they didn't listen. I mean, he was harsh.
They didn't coach Brad Friedel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Louisville looked incredible. They looked great.
They did.
I didn't stay up for Sacramento. Pony,
It's okay.
I watched it. Well, I should say I watched extra time. But yeah, Pony, did you watch the whole game?
I only came in the second half, but from what I saw, Sacramento
Ooh, good.
looked like
Kevin, you did the first half. Pony did the second half.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
No, I didn't watch the first half because my own team was playing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, from what I saw, Sacramento looked the better team. They gave up a late goal and then had pretty good composure to get back in extra time. So I think it's been just part of these 3 teams. Their teams, I think we all had a pretty good chance of going through. If you told someone only 3 teams advanced from USL, I think this would be one of the most popular combinations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And furthermore, Sacramento becomes the only USL side to make the round of 16 in consecutive seasons. They join 9 MLS teams who were also in round of 16 last year.
So let's just we're talking Open Cup, and I've been wanting to have this discussion. So I'm going to ask this question to everybody: what's the difference between USL teams versus MLS teams without DPs? Is there a big difference there?
There's a difference for Minnesota.
That's a Minnesota dig. You cut out there, Ryan, but I think we all know what you said.
Yeah, it was just a joke at Minnesota's expense.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was another one.
But Kev, like, what
the
about
difference is
you follow
is
Portland
MLS contracts
one
versus
and
USL
two.
contracts.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think Portland without their DPs would beat easily every USL team, or you think they'd struggle quite a bit?
Without their DPs, I don't think that they would struggle. They would probably be a top side, but it would be more competitive. I mean, Portland played. They didn't play as many T2 players as they did last season in their first U.S. Open Cup game. We also had Diego Chara playing because he was going to be suspended for the next game anyway due to yellow card accumulation in the league match. So that really helped. That game saw, mostly first team reserve players, 4 T2 players called up, with Chara kind of leading the team, and they pretty much outplayed a near full strength San Jose. San Jose brought their DPs on. We didn't. Chara's not a DP, so we didn't play any DPs at all and beat them off 2-0. Going to Sacramento, when I was watching the Sacramento versus Seattle game, Seattle just looked exhausted. Like I think they were starting to lose all their energy even before full time. So I was a little disappointed that they got the goal to have to go for another 30 minutes. But I was very impressed with Sacramento being able to just keep up the pace and keep trying. And like the second half of extra time, the field was just tilted at Seattle's goal. So they got their goal like the 115th minute, I believe.
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah, really close to the end, and I'm glad it didn't go to PKs, but that's all Seattle was playing for at that point.
I think it depends on how good your academy is too.
Yeah.
Which is a weird, intangible thing. But, if you just have a really solid academy, then it might not matter a whole lot if you have DPs because you can just churn out kids left and right. And, I mean, we've seen a lot of teams kind of ride that youth, hello, LA Galaxy too, to results recently. So, but, yeah, I mean, I really don't think any MLS team would struggle against USL teams.
I think the key is Colorado, Minnesota, obviously, but I think the key is not DPs anymore. With the way that the salary structure is shifting in MLS, it's really matters on the teams that don't utilize TAM players and build more like non-DP depth are the teams that are going to struggle playing against USL sides that, you know, are going like they're playing for a trophy. Whereas teams like, you know, like Portland and other teams that develop or are building their teams very well, Atlanta, LAFC, you know, they've got their DPs, but they also have a lot of TAM players, a lot of strong depth, that mid-range kind of like position 4 to 8 on the table on the salary structure. Those teams, they're not likely to struggle.
Yeah.
Dallas, I wouldn't imagine, because Dallas and New York Red Bulls with their strong academies, like LA Galaxy, you know, any team that is building their first team well enough is just not going to struggle. Is not going to struggle at all in USL.
Yeah, well, I completely agree with you, and I think the USL team has a play in that because, I mean, just take for example Ernie Stewart, what he's built. I'm going to speak for you here, Evan. What he's built in Philly and in Bethlehem Steel and the academies is something pretty amazing. And the USL team, Bethlehem Steel, has been no small part of getting, say, 2. I think they're both under 20 center backs, under 20 years old.
Yeah. Truss and Mark. Yeah.
There's no way those guys would have been ready if they went straight from the academy.
No, not at all.
Less. But they played.
Even if they played college, they wouldn't be ready.
100%. Miles Robinson is one of the top center backs, and he's struggling. He's not doing well in MLS. He's not bad, but he's not ready, and he's not trusted. But look at these two who played straight out of USL,
right
out of high school. Those two are doing just fine, doing really well.
We had kids graduate from high school this week that played against Louisville.
Man, so I mean,
we had a kid that graduated high school this week that played an MLS match. Like, the state of it is amazing.
Yeah. So this, as the USL show, if we're going to talk about the national team, it's really cool to be able to talk about Ernie Stewart and Bethlehem Steel and Philadelphia Union, who quite a hell of a team to have to play in 3 years from now with all these veterans who are going to be 21 years old, 3-year veterans.
I'm flattered. I will say, and this might not win me any fans with the front office, but everything that you see in terms of setting up an academy and setting up a USL team and setting up a pipeline, really, in terms of making it the infrastructure, was in place before Ernie came in.
Oh, tell me more about that, because I
don't want to discredit him for having an influence and bringing in a culture and bringing in a style where it's a lot. It's, you know, the importance is bringing up kids. And I also don't want to make this like an hour-long podcast about the Union. But I don't think also to just give him all the credit is fair to anybody either, because there are people, you know, academy staff and the academy director, Tommy Wilson, and countless people. Obviously, Brendan Burke is someone that I always give a hell of a lot of credit to because he has to coach these kids in USL. But yeah, the actual infrastructure itself was in place before Ernie got there. That was all Nick Sakowitz, actually.
Okay. But Ernie's willing to give these guys a chance, which
sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where, okay, we're not going to spend a ton of money, so we have to build through the academy.
Perfect.
Anyway.
Spare me for a second, because I thought maybe someone else would.
No. It's not anybody that anyone has any fondness for.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Anyway, moving on from that. Couple of USL team related things. USL is making their way to New Mexico. It's not Albuquerque Soul of PDL apparently. What they're going to be called New Mexico United, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Seriously?
I believe.
Something I don't know.
Really?
I think that's
what are they uniting?
Well, I mean, what did DC
unite?
It's just all right. So we're up to what, a dozen now, or Baker's dozen of teams in the United States with United in their name.
Yeah.
Our country is the word United in the name.
That's fair. Yeah.
Hey, that's true. Wow.
12 USL teams and the national team.
Credit to you on that one, Ryan. Absolutely.
I've been looking for a pre-roll quote for Ryan, and I think I finally found it.
Yeah, we finally have. See, I always like tell people I'm like Ryan's hilarious, and he doesn't get enough chance to shine, and I don't know if that's my fault, but there you go, son. Take your chances. Proud of
We
you.
need to go to the really small Oregon city of Unity so we could have the Unity United.
Oh my god!
Hey, there we go.
Ooh.
Please.
USL D4. Let's get on that.
Yep.
There's 100 people living there, but
Well, hey, can 11 of them play soccer competently? Yeah, we're great. And then FC Dallas's 2 side, which would be Los Toritos, which is what they should have been named, but I digress. Are going to be playing in Allen, Texas, no relation, and going to start in D3. 84,246 people, which is the kind of the lower end. So South Georgia Tormentas kind of area is 74,000, and Madison, Wisconsin's 233, and Tucson is 520. And then Frisco and Allen are just about a half an hour away from each other, which is huge because we already know a couple of MLS teams that have that whole we practice, all of our guys together and send them different places.
Yep.
So I thought it was interesting that they may use the club for just more developmental purposes rather than competitive strength. How do you think that will fit in with the rest of D3? I know Orlando B are pending a comeback into that league.
I think Dallas has a really solid academy setup, So I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of use their 2 team as a Los Dos kind of thing. I'm super glad that they are going to be not in Frisco.
Me too.
And I hope their name isn't FC Dallas too. I hope that's just kind of like a placeholder for now. That would be cool. But yeah, I mean, I think that's dead on. I don't think they are going to care at one bit about winning a trophy in that league.
I'm not even. That's the thing too. Is are they going to care about this team? It doesn't seem like they're going to.
It'll take them 2 years, I think. We've seen that a lot in that you don't really understand what it is the first year, and then if you have it the second year and you start to see results from it, then you keep it around. If you don't, you turn in the FC Montreal.
Right.
And not I don't the word's not like they don't care about the team. I think specifically they're not going to care about results.
Yes.
They want to develop their academy players, and they've chosen USL Division 3 as the place that they want to do that, and that's totally fine.
Well, no, I'm being serious though when I say are they going to care about the team, because just like I've said before, why did it take them this long to start it? Hopefully they're starting it now because they see, we can't keep getting results in MLS without a USL side of some sort. I hope that's what they're doing, but they also may just be saying, well, we probably need to do this and we're going to throw this into D3 and see what happens.
Well, it seemed like in the years past that a lot of the MLS sides were catching up to FC Dallas in terms of strength and academy. I mean,
exactly.
Years ago, we saw FC Dallas were basically being touted as this B team in Oscar Pareja, however his last name is pronounced. Apologies if I mispronounced it. It touted as like the mastermind behind it, and yet FC Dallas recently have missed the playoffs in MLS, and it seems like they've fallen behind. So it all circles back to you, Phil, and asking, I was like, are they doing this willingly to want to improve their team, or just the fact that MLS would prefer that they have their own?
That's fair. That's fair. Both of your viewpoints are totally fair, and I can totally see it from that way.
Pony, got anything?
No, I think it kind of comes down to the D3 MLS2 sides where they are far more concerned about development instead of play until they actually get in this part they can make a playoff run. And that's kind of frustrating from the standpoint of teams who do care about results from square one. It's just a different mindset that at times could lead to some bad on-field results.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then what else we got down here? Bill Edwards is upgrading Al Lang Stadium. That's a big one. Go listen to Unused Subs for like a actually good rundown on everything. But this is huge because they're not getting into MLS ever at this point. That's an opinion and it's unfounded, but I just can't see an angle for them to get in. But for Edwards, and I think we saw it with Phoenix and their little pop-up stadium, and Red Bull doing all right, breaking 1,000 people in terms of attendance and things like that, and just kind of the amount of people that have paid attention to the USL this year, just to have someone say, "Yep, I'm going to bring my stadium up to a little over double its capacity just because I want to." Basically, is really cool.
Amazing. It makes me so freaking happy to see him do this, to kind of plant his flag for USL. And I can't remember if I said this 2 weeks ago, but I seriously hope more and more cities are going to do this. Like my city, St. Louis, would be basically any fake MLS hopeful out there that isn't going to be an MLS someday.
For sure.
Stop promising your city MLS, or stop saying we might make it into MLS. Say, screw you. We're with Bill Edwards. We're all going to join. We're going to link arms, and we're going to tout the name USL, United Soccer League.
Kumbaya.
That whole
Tout, my favorite social media platform.
Yeah. But we're going to use stadiums that hold 10, 15,000 people, and we're going to try our best to fill them up. And if they do, God help us, if they do, this could be a serious Division II.
Oh yeah, in
the world, like Edwards would like to claim.
I think we saw that with Louisville. I mean, they're building their own place, and this is easily a very good thing for the league. A rising tide will raise all ships as far as in terms of stadiums. If you see it working in Tampa, you can see it working in many other cities. Basically saying, why not us? Why can't that just be us?
Yeah. That and Phil, I think you're dead on about not, continuously selling people on the false hope of MLS. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
You say, here's who we are, here's what we do. The league that we're in doesn't really matter.
Right.
We're going to give it our all every week because the players don't care where they play, really. Sure, you would love to go and play New York City or LA Galaxy or the Quakes or Red Bull. It'd be really cool to play David Villa or whatever. But those guys just want to play soccer, and the fact that we have a second league right now that took calculated risks that are paying off and that's thriving is great. And sorry, and feel free to say we're glad handling the league again, but that league office, as much as I give them shit for having terrible commentary, knows what they're doing when it comes to like running a league.
Yeah, they do. I think I said this online, we're that mix between, the freedom that NASL kind of pushed for.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, exactly. But also the business sense of MLS, the fiscal sensibility of MLS. You put those together, you've got USL. And so, I mean, we could go so far with this. And not to mention, we're losing FC Cincinnati to MLS. But if they didn't show us, what the best of USL could be, we're all idiots. If no one tries to copy that and make it happen in their own city, I mean, they nailed it. I mean, it was a perfect storm of several variables that came together at the right time, but we can recreate that. We can come close to recreating that in each of our cities. And we can look at what they did and where they put it and how they did it and give it a shot. I think we could do it.
Yeah, I mean, we're losing Cincinnati, but we're gaining 5 clubs supposedly next year with Austin, Birmingham, El Paso, Memphis, and New Mexico.
Big.
Or for 2019.
Get ready for that Central Conference, Phil. I hope you enjoyed the West again because you won't be in it next year.
I mean,
It's not a season unless St. Louis has a new conference.
That's true. We're gonna move you guys. There's gonna be like a super hyper like Midwest conference, and they're gonna be like St. Louis is in that, and it'll be great.
You know what I was thinking today? I was like, we're gonna be in the Central next year, and I think it's gonna happen. And then in 2020, they're gonna instate promotion relegation, and something's gonna happen to force us into yet another conference in 2020.
USL D3 Texarkana. Which
they're not even in Texas or Arkansas.
Put them there. Who cares?
And the Big 12 doesn't have 12 teams.
Yeah.
Also
have college sports conferences takes and jokes. Guys, the good news is we don't have to keep making weird references and terrible jokes. Soccer happened this weekend. Hooray. It's soccer. Hooray for soccer. That's another reference. Starting at the bottom of your show notes, working our way upward so that everyone's with me. Mm-hmm. Orange County 1, LA Galaxy 2-0. Meaning Orange County scored once. Los Dos scored no times. Thomas Enevoldsen, 82nd minute winner. And LA Galaxy forgot how to score finally.
So I think this is good for them. I think this is really good. I think we saw the two of the Wunderkins, the like Yanez and Munoz. Alvarez is with the Mexican national team. We won't talk about him for now. But those guys came on as subs, as attacking subs. And so I wonder, and the announcers who are Los Dos announcers, they're local guys, were like really, really hitting it hard. Oh, look at the defensive shape for Los Dos. Wow. Look how good they're being, that defensive shape. I think it's been really clear that the coach who started seemingly from scratch at the beginning of this year with Los Dos wanted to figure out the attack, and he figured it out. I think we're all very clear on the fact that he figured out the attack pretty well. And then he worked on defense, and that's been their focus lately. And because I think this is their second game in a row where it was a 1-0 win or loss, right?
I believe.
So I think we're just seeing like a Los Dos that's kind of evolving and growing in front of our eyes, and they're a really fun team to watch. I think Lasker had an interesting game. I think he's kind of a new face to the team. I think they're fun to watch. A lot of young kids.
This is Los Dos' third 1-0 loss this year, and I could definitely see them getting hot in the coming weeks as they play two teams currently at the bottom of the Western Conference, at OKC, at Tulsa as they do the Oklahoma swing, and then they host Seattle Sounders, and then we get to see them again against OC on the road, just as basically a litmus test to see how they've done in the past weeks. Can they repeat it again?
They got to put it together. They got to put that attack together with the defense that they've been putting up lately, and they could really look good.
Yeah, they're not a playoff team, but they could easily be a team who's going to steal a game or two from people who are playoff teams because they have that offensive talent to just suddenly score 7 goals in a game. And if they make their defense work, they could grind out a 1-0 once or twice here. Who knows?
And I think OC game planned for Los Dos, where they threw a lot of guys behind the ball against them and they just dared them to score on them with their. I mean, OC's had a solid defense all year, so they also did game plan at Los Dos, and so USL may be onto them a little bit, so they're going to have to adjust a little bit here too.
Yeah. Next game, Seattle Sounders 2. That many goals. Oklahoma City Energy 1. Seattle picks up a win. David Estrada scores twice in 2 minutes because why not? And Alex Dixon started things in the 76th. Pony, you watched this, and I happened to see a tweet from you that this was not a very fun game to sit through.
This was a horrible game to sit through. It was both. Oklahoma City looked better for most of the game. It's one of those Oklahoma City tale of they look better and they managed to lose another game here. But this game was just awful. Like, especially the first half, no one looked too good. I mean, you could have told me this was a average level college team playing an average level college team, and I would have 100% bought into that.
Yeah.
These teams don't look like they were like professional sides. I'm not sure that's being a little bit too harsh, but there's a reason these two teams are at the bottom of the table. And this game, especially the first half, is a very clear reason of why they're at the bottom of the table. They don't look up to par on what even the bubble teams are. I mean, there's a reason Oklahoma City's just getting killed most weeks. There's a reason Seattle has no one believing in them, and this was blatantly shown on this game. It was painful to watch. I don't usually watch many USL games when there's no other game on and go, boy, I'd rather do something else. But I came close to turning this game off a couple of times.
Their playing style, especially, it was, dump and run. I saw a lot of that in this game. I didn't make it past the half, Pony, so you're a better man than me.
I wasn't doing anything else. That's my life on the weekends. It's just watch whatever USL game was on.
But it really, truly did look like a college style of play. I think you nailed it there.
What was the next match, which was a Sacramento Republic Phoenix Rising 0-0 draw, as bad? I think we're disappointed because none of us picked that this would end 0-0, because who in their right mind would think that? But
yeah, especially after Sacramento won 3-1, I think 2 weeks ago in Phoenix. So this was just a weird one for Sacramento. I mean, no team had really much offense success. Sacramento missed another penalty kick, which has been happening a lot for them this season. I think they've missed 3 or 4 now. So that'd be something really nice to get sorted out, because they probably could have picked up another 5 points on the season if they actually made all their penalty kicks. But I think it was one of those where it almost seemed like both teams were happy with the draw, if that makes sense. Both teams were just kind of waiting for the other opponent to mess up, and no one ever messed up.
I find that Phoenix away kind of gets that way. I always expect them to not score a ton of goals away, because they just don't. And I'm still shocked that this game was 0-0. But Phoenix away, I mean, they're not looking to score on you a lot. They're going to try to get away with a draw or perhaps a win. But they hardly ever lose away either. That's the other thing.
Yeah, Sacramento have missed 3 PKs this year compared to only scoring 2 PKs this year.
Yeah, USL penalties. Welcome to the show.
Don't worry. There was more of those this week. Reno 1, Fresno 1. Hey, Pony and Ryan both said that there was going to be draws in this game for the latest episode of our friends over at Foxtrot Podcast, and they're right. So that's why we're the best podcast about USL. We're right all the time when it matters, which is when we're on other people's podcasts.
I've been meaning to listen to that.
Reno,
you guys talked about stats and stuff, right?
Yeah, correct. It was a really fun episode. Just go over stats, and Pony also previewed their match against Sacramento in the coming weeks.
I managed to barely get on that one. I ended up having to work like 2 hours of overtime unexpected on that day, so I snuck in there.
Reno unbeaten in 10, which is crazy.
Yeah, they caught fire this time last year. They're not really winning as many games this season, but they did the same thing where the first month they looked like the worst team in the league, and suddenly they turned things around.
Reno currently have the second most draws in the Western Conference at 6, only behind Fresno, who have the most draws at 7.
Really? It's not Tulsa? That's surprising.
Tulsa also has 7 draws with Fresno.
Okay, I think Tulsa drew 5 in a row at one point, so I was surprised they didn't have a lot.
RGV is also at 7. There are a bunch of clubs at 7, and Reno just kind of nestles himself right beneath them.
8 draws.
The most draws this year actually goes to the Etch-a-Sketch in Toy Story.
There you go. Well done.
Thank you.
Is Reno a good
Kev, sorry,
what it would be
for it.
I'm so sorry, but is Reno a good example of what it would be like if USL had some form of TAM money to work with? Because last year we had 2 all-star USL players, but this year they don't. So they're kind of average this year, but last year they were killer. Anyone with me on that? Is that too deep?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, that's super inside baseball.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all about, though, right?
A little bit. A little bit. Hey, Kev, Portland Timbers 2-1. RGV 0. You're doing it.
Correct.
You guys have passed up your points for all of last year already, right?
For like all of last year's combined.
Well, yes, but that was like 3 or 4 games in the season we did that. At this point, I think we may have exceeded the point total for the entire history of the club combined.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't, but you know what I'm getting at. They're pretty ridiculous. 1 loss in the last 6 matches. So, again, my hat tips to San Antonio for a fantastic play in that game. Portland, 5 shutouts in their last 6 wins. We're doing it. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Second place in the West.
You could have told me that at the beginning of the season. I would have been like, what are you smoking? I'd be happy with just barely making the playoffs. Second place was not even considered.
Yeah.
But a fun team to watch. Good team. Which is I don't really know how you feel because Steel made the playoffs last year, but I know how you feel. I got you.
It is a fun team to watch. If we have all of the first team players that are getting loaned down and getting lots of minutes, they play very well.
Kev, you're just 9 points away from beating your 2015 total of 35, and most points Timbers 2 team ever earned in club history was 40 points in 2016.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kev, I wanted to ask you because I couldn't catch the game. How did Langsdorff and William? How did those guys look in the Open Cup game? Did they play?
I'm trying to think. They did play. I'm confused. I'm confused because they ended up getting on the bench for a league game when T2 was playing San Antonio.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like those 2 games are too similar to each other that I'm almost like, did they play? I don't remember. Langsdorff, I think, came off the bench, and Williamson came off the bench, if I remember correctly, on the Open Cup match. They both look MLS ready. I was hesitant to say that earlier, but these 2 guys, and even Marvin Loria, who's signed to T2, they came out and just in the U.S. Open Cup match just looked good.
It's great.
And if I really think that some of these guys are going to be making MLS minutes sooner rather than later.
I always like to see how well they do to kind of judge the gap. Mind the gap.
Yep.
Phil, St. Louis 3, Tulsa 0. Tulsa not great.
They looked bad in this game. They really did. They looked defeated. Honestly, when it was 1-0, they looked kind of defeated. It was not pretty to watch. You just get the vibe that something's going on over there, or it's too much losing kind of makes a team kind of give up. You see some players like really into it still, and you see a lot of other players not so much. I remember there was like a free kick by a player that was loaned down to them, and he kicked it, and like no one even tried to go for the ball, even though it was a really good ball in. And he just started yelling at dudes, and no one responded. No one. I mean, it's just ugly in Tulsa.
Culture thing at this point, eh?
Yeah. Like there's just exactly. There's culture. Something's going on over there. But St. Louis it's their second game in a row, second win in a row, and they're looking better after a bad stretch of lots of games in a short amount of time. But here's the story I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna throw a little bit of water on everything because St. Louis just beat a Swope Park who sent all their best players up for the Open Cup, and we just beat Tulsa. And so it's got to be good for morale. It's got to be something that's kind of good for our team as we get a few reinforcements back from injury. To have 2 wins like that, to go up against Real Monarchs coming up this weekend. So, I'm hoping the best for my team, and I got really excited for a while, just like I got really disappointed after they lost to Phoenix 3-0. But I'm tempering expectations because of what is, the teams we just saw are not as good as I think.
Sure.
Too excited, I guess, basically. So
Kyle Greig guy is good.
He's good. He's really good. We're so lucky we got him. He was one of the latest additions to our squad, and we picked him up, and I was like, "Uh-oh, coach doesn't like Valesky." That was my first reaction. And then Greg came on after Valesky got his chances. Greg kind of came in as a sub at first and delivered, and then he became a starter. And then Valesky got traded, so here we are. Greg's a great player. The dude, he just knows how to produce.
Fair enough.
And St. Louis are playing Real Monarchs in Sacramento in their next 2 matches. They're hosting Monarchs and then traveling into Sacramento. So it definitely seems like these next 2 games will be a big test for St. Louis.
And finally, other than Phoenix, who we got destroyed by in that game, where we had a lot of games in a couple of weeks, we haven't had a good test, to be honest. We've not seen Belmar with Swope twice now, so we beat them. But I mean, what kind of test is that? So this is going to be our biggest test going up these 2 teams here. We did fine against Portland in one game, and they eked us out on the other. So, we'll see what happens. This is the best test we've had.
Colorado Springs 0, Swope Park 1. Haji Berry scores in the 40th minute. And good 3 points for Swope Park.
So that's however, Swope Park just beat Colorado Springs without their best players. So
And you do.
There's too much back and forth in the middle of the table in the West.
I love it though, because it's going to make it really fun for that last couple playoff spots.
It's an absolute mess. There's 6 teams that could get.
Yeah, but the car crash is really exciting.
Yeah, says the guy.
You'll love it
in the East.
I mean, the last 4 wins for Swope Park Rangers have all been 1-0 results, 2 of them coming against Colorado Springs. And what I think is more impressive is Carlton Belmar still leads the team in goals with 8 goals on the year. Haji Berry is second with 5. But Belmar, I don't believe, has played for Swope Park Rangers in a couple weeks. Has gotten 3 appearances or 3 call-ups to the big first team. He scored a goal against Real Salt Lake in their Open Cup match. He even played in a couple minutes at the end of their match against the Portland Timbers, which, Kev, I think you attended this past weekend.
Yep, I saw him before the game started. I was like, is that Belmar? It looks a lot like Belmar. And I was really close to the field, and he was shaking some hands with some Timbers trainers and saying, hey, how's it going? They'll good to be back for a second. But yeah, it was the last sub, right, of that game.
Yeah, it was.
Good for him to get some MLS minutes.
Yeah, and he still leads the league in goals too, I believe. Could almost be one of those Jack McBean situations from a few years ago where the complete pair miss half the season because we're playing on a better team and still finish in the top 3 for total goals scored.
Yeah.
Went to Coventry City halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Leave the country, come back, and you're still running things. It's fine.
Awesome.
It's fine.
Play half your games with Florida and Kansas City, and you still score more goals than half the clubs in the U.S.
I mean, considering Carlton Belmar with 8 goals, it's still more goals than OKC has this year with 7.
Tampa 1, Nashville 1. Good game. Tampa. Oh boy.
How do we feel about how our boy Collins is doing over there?
That team isn't getting any younger.
Even with Collins out, huh?
Well, no, but I think that's their problem, because I think, and I was talking to Dan from Unused Subs about it. It would have been Saturday night, I suppose. And that window that they have to win a title, getting really tight.
Ugh.
So they have to be a selling club, but they don't want to be, and everyone kind of knows how much those guys are worth, and it's not a great spot to be in.
Pony posted his rankings, which are usually pretty pretty on the point there. And what Tampa Bay was down in like 6th or 8th or worse. Where were they?
They are 10th now, but it's basically a tie from 8th, 9th, and 10th. They're basically all tied up.
It's really scary. It's really scary for your Tampa Bay team with all that talent.
Yeah.
I mean, Tampa Bay have just. Go ahead, Pony. Sorry.
It's also, I mean, some of their last few games, the only really bad result has been an Atlanta draw.
Yeah.
I don't think you're really going to be too upset drawing Nashville and Pittsburgh. Those are two very, very good teams.
And I like the direction they've gone. It sounds like, listening to unused subs, that they didn't have much of a choice but to play 3 in the back because they don't have either a right back or a left back. I forget which one they're kind of missing right now. But it's worked. I mean, if you're going to be a team with that much attacking talent, then why not go balls out with just 3 in the back?
Sure.
I liked it. It's a ballsy move, and Collins' replacement apparently is doing just fine. So, yeah, keep going, keep pushing. I think they'll come back a little bit at least.
I mean,
I wouldn't want to play them.
Go ahead, Evan.
I wouldn't want to play them as a low seed. Like if I was a 2 seed and they were 7, like that would not be fun.
Oh, right. I see.
On the road, so who cares?
That too, yeah.
I mean, Phil, you are right. They definitely have built up their kind of offensive prowess. They took 25 shots in this match, 6 of which were on target, but I was shocked it took them with that many shots that it took until the 84th minute to equalize the match.
Mm-hmm. I know. And I watched a lot of that, and I just was like, when are they going to score? I mean, they keep putting those shots on goal. I don't know. I feel like some of this is bad luck, but that's hard to say because a lot of teams who feel like they have bad luck, there's something going on. You know what I mean?
But isn't Nashville a good defensive side in the East?
Yeah, but if you're getting shots on goal, I mean, that many shots, dang.
I know, but
Nashville
Nashville's
is considered among the top 3 best defensive sides in the Eastern Conference, along with Louisville and Pittsburgh, who've both given up 7 goals this year through 11 and 12 matches, respectively. Nashville's given up 8 through 12.
You're definitely right, Kev. I mean, maybe Nashville's really good at making those 26 shots suck. Seriously, they can.
No, I understand. Like you just fire literally everything you've got. You get a lot of shots on goal, and eventually, even the best defensive teams will succumb and cough up stuff late in the match. That happens. That's why when you're down, you throw everything you've got. But I'm not surprised that it took them that long to score because Nashville's a good defensive side, and the reason why they're as high as they are in the conference right now is because they've been able to get those shutouts and get points before they basically grabbed Brandon Allen and started to score goals.
Yeah. So let's move to that. Before we move on, Evan, you got to give us some Brandon Allen talk. It sounds like you're kind of conceding that maybe this was a good move for that gentleman personally.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. What does he have to eat? Hey man, stand in the box. Lebo Maloto's going to feed you some balls. Who wouldn't do that? I could. Well, no. No. Just because me being like, well, yeah, like who wouldn't be able to turn in a couple balls from Lebo Maloto still downplays it. But yeah, what Brandon Allen is doing right now for Nashville literally has them playing like a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference, and I'm glad that it's worked out for seemingly both teams.
Also, the answer is whoever was there before Brandon Allen started scoring goals. That's the answer to that question.
Lebo Maloto was just kind of a one-man. Him and Mensah were kind of running things, and I think Allen's a little more crafty than Mensah is, at least currently.
Well, it's the other two I'm talking about. I can't remember.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, sorry.
Some guys. I don't know. Anyway, this was a match. Penn FC 3, Toronto FC 2. I thought this was the game. I really did. I was like, here it is. Io Akinyola scores 13th minute. That'll be it. It's going to be a 1-0. It'll be stupid. Ken Tribbett scores twice in 2 minutes. Jordan Hamilton gets one back in the 68th. And I'm like, all right, Toronto gets a draw. It's not bad. It's cool. And then your only hope, Jerry Ortiz. And there's your only hope, the center official. And there's a handball penalty kick awarded, and Penn FC convert, and they take a 3-2 win, and Toronto FC still don't know what they're doing. Also, the Star Wars kits will never not be terrible, but I support Penn FC. Oh, I'm sorry. It was their first Star Wars night ever, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Rookie mistake. I apologize. Sorry.
This is a
So
joke about Penn FC not being associated with.
Who? No. They're a new team, Phil.
Thank you. Just making sure that's where we're going here.
Yep. No. They're a brand new team. There's never been a soccer team that played in Harrisburg. There's never been a soccer team that played in Harrisburg that had a guy in Germany buy a bunch of their Star Wars kits last year. Never been a thing. Never been a thing. Anyway.
Oh, you are
at
so
least-
inside right now, but you are on such a roll.
I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. And Ken Tribbett never played for Penn FC before because they never existed. I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't know.
Tribbitt's, by the way, Tribbitt's a center back, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure that dude is the Forrest Lasso of this season.
He's not that big. Like, he's not like that big. He's big, but he's not Forrest Lasso big. He's a great USL center back, and as critical as it was for him in Bethlehem Steel when the idea was you're supposed to go to the first team, he'll be fine here. And he has been fine here. He scored a bicycle kick, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. These are all like set pieces, right? He's scoring on.
Oh yeah, corners for sure. Yeah, 2 corners.
There we go.
I will at least say that was a weak handball in the box. I remember
terrible.
watching the final 10 minutes of this match, and I just couldn't believe. I don't think there was even contact with the ball between the Toronto defender and that shot. It was a very weak handball call in the box, and Toronto have now lost 7 consecutive matches. And this match was the first time they led at any point in the match since their May 16th fixture against Atlanta United 2. And this was also Penn's first win since May 9th when they also played Toronto FC 2 and got a win against them then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we missed one. It was Indy 11-2.
Did we? I apologize. We did. We'll go back to it. Indy 11-2, Atlanta United 2-0, meaning Indy scored twice, and the three stripes. What are they calling themselves? 5.
5 stripes for their
7,
or MLS
9?
first team, but they're
11, 13,
It's half,
USL kids
the
have seen
2.5 stripes.
15.
My favorite Jack White band, the 2.5 stripes.
3.14159 stripes.
Yeah.
The team that had so
problem
much
is
potential, and we were excited about their academy moving up to USL, and has not
Jury's still out on the academy, but this is not going well in terms of results.
been bad.
Matt Watson, 30th minute. Carlisle Mitchell, 55th minute.
And
Yeah.
They-
It happened.
they did.
Great.
Glad we went back and talked about that game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it happened. I don't know. If people want us to talk, I feel bad for glossing over an indie victory.
Well,
But
they were supposed to win this game. I mean, they're
yeah,
like
but I mean, it's
playoff
Atlanta
team
United
playing
too.
against one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, what do you? You do what you're supposed to, and unless something crazy happens, like Star Wars night and a 96-minute, handball, we're not really gonna.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's bigger things.
10,000 people in Indy inside that.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool too.
Yep.
For sure. New York Red Bulls 2-4, Charlotte Independence 2. I hate when this happens. New York scored 4 times. Charlotte scores twice.
I heard 2 in there twice.
I know. You mean New York Red Bulls scored 6 times and you said it wrong? No. No. They scored 4 times. Charlotte scored twice. This is like kind of the Red Bull of old we saw here, in that we're going to score a lot of goals, and you can score goals too, but you just can't score as many as we score.
Would you say that happens about every 4th game? We see the
It's like once in a full moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At first, I thought Atlanta United was going to be like Red Bull 2, but that didn't pan out.
New York Red Bull 3, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. That won't throw people off.
Interestingly, Charlotte Independence and their losses this year, including their Open Cup loss, have all been by 2 goals. In fact, this is the first time they've lost this year, and they've also scored because in the league play, their previous losses were all 2-0 results.
They're a crazy side.
They are.
Charlotte. I don't know what to make of them at all. They're the one team where I'm like, if they're playing a mid-table team, I really have no clue to where to go with it.
It seems like
What's
half the
more
teams
wild-
we talk about are crazy teams that we just don't know how they're going to play on any given night.
Those wild and crazy teams.
That's probably just the
What's
nature.
more wild is Charlotte's still currently 4th in the Eastern Conference, which is much higher than it seems like they've been playing.
I agree.
Yeah, I could see Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to be a tail-end playoff team at this point, but they could be one of those really scary tail-end playoff teams where I could believe they sneak into like 8th place and knock off the 1 seed, and I could believe they sneak into 8th place and lose 4-0.
I heard a St. Louis player talk about Charlotte, saying they refuse not to play out of the back. They just like insist on playing soccer, you know? So
That's really good.
yeah. So I mean, that's a cool thing. And I think that kind of shows where like if they're gonna insist on playing somewhat pretty soccer, then sometimes it's gonna go bad and then sometimes it's really gonna pay off. Perhaps
Refusal to not play out of the back makes them the LA Galaxy of USL.
I mean, I also want to give props to the New York Red Bulls too for breaking the 1,000 mark in attendance this week. Highest attended match of all season for them.
At first, I thought you meant like this season in total, and I was like, "Ouch!" But no, they.
I thought that
one.
DC United versus North Carolina dig in the Open Cup.
Yeah.
Didn't the coach say there were 150 people out here?
That sounds right. Yeah. Yeah. North Carolina 0, FC Cincinnati 2. Danny Koenig becomes FC Cincinnati's all-time leading goal scorer. Magustulation to him. And Jimmy McLaughlin scores in the 87th minute. So 3 wins in the last 4 for Cincinnati. Phil, to debunk your theory, North Carolina has 20 shots, but scored no times. So there you go.
Punching holes in my theory.
Yeah, you know.
It's
That's
all
how
right.
it
It's
works.
proving that my faith in FC Cincinnati is proving correct. I've been ranking them pretty high in my power rankings, so they're good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
this
if they
is-
keep rotating players. That's the other thing, and they don't seem to drop off much when they rotate players. That's
Right.
really good for long-term success.
Yeah, this is a lot. This is similar to how I saw the Indy Atlanta game, where you have one team who should be squarely in the playoffs, one team who's not good, and the better team just goes out and takes care of business, which is what we want to be seeing Cincinnati doing here. I mean, I agree. They're probably the number 2 or 3 team, depending on what day of the week it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that I heard on Extra Time Radio that bothered me is they're talking about FC Cincinnati next year and how they were thinking that Minnesota going into their first season, both these teams are being rushed into MLS where they're starting the season after.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So they were saying that Minnesota had 2 or 3 or 4 players that they could just throw right in that they already had.
Mhm.
That FC Cincinnati really doesn't have any MLS players.
Ooh, I don't agree with that.
I don't either. I think that was uninformed, and that's
I think
Cincinnati just went toe-to-toe with Minnesota for 120 minutes in the Open Cup. I mean, yeah, it was still a 0-0 result that saw them lose on penalty kicks, but
so off the top of my head, here we go. Emmanuel Ledesma is definitely going to make the jump.
Thank
Forrest Lasso will make the jump. Jimmy McLaughlin will be there. They will take one of Kenny Walker or Corbin Bone.
fucking nailed it. F word.
And I think Emery Welshman goes over as well.
Maybe he's
they bring
not.
up leading goal scorer.
Just because I don't think Danny Koenig does enough
I
for
agree.
MLS.
I agree with you.
Someone will be like, "Oh, look at how many goals he scored." I get it. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's a terrible opinion. That's clearly someone that has not watched enough of FC Cincinnati.
It was Matt Doyle, and who actually does watch USL, to his credit. But I thought he was wrong, and I'm glad you guys kind of agree with me. The only reason I brought it up is because I was questioning myself. I'm not trying to rip him to pieces. I was like, well, maybe he's right.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. Yeah, this is an unfortunate one for Charleston. Richmond 2, Charleston 0.
Oh.
These are always fun matches. These are always very unpredictable matches. But yeah, Charleston's unbeaten run of 10 games ends at the hands of an old guard shield / just general rival here.
I picked Charleston Battery solely because they've been pulling out results that I haven't expected them to pull out lately.
Yeah.
And their ranking, obviously, where they are in the standings right now. But when I put down that Charleston was going to win this game in my pick'ems, I was hesitant because Richmond, these two, you just never know.
Yeah, Richmond's good at home usually, and Charleston's been pretty bad on the road this year. Talk about Tampa, but Charleston still only has one win on the road, and that's against Atlanta. At home, they're good, but I fail to see them staying where they are on the table if they can't start pulling stuff together against anybody on the road.
Yeah.
Richmond with all 4 of their wins this year at home, and in fact, their previous victory before that was a 1-0 result over Tampa Bay. They've also beaten North Carolina FC, so if they can beat Charlotte, it'll finish off the Carolina sweep.
Good stuff.
That rubber match comes on June 23rd.
Coming up.
And then what do we got? 2 more games.
Your team's next.
Yeah, man. Bethlehem 0, Louisville 0. This was weird.
I wasn't surprised at this result, even though I didn't guess it.
Honestly, Louisville looked really leggy. And James O'Connor said that he thought they were leggy, and I don't disagree. And for a team like Bethlehem, with the advantage of not coming off of an Open Cup game, and having a lot of young, pacey dudes, a little bit more foul trouble, I think, early on for Louisville. And this is a different game. Chris Nanko barely misses a header and a couple penalty shouts, but honestly, Brian Ownby came on in the second half and looked like he wanted to run through everything and almost did. He's a great player.
I think he's got for some reason, I think he's got some confidence right now.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's almost like he scored a really pretty goal in the Open Cup against the MLS team, but who knows? Really good result for Bethlehem. I wrote that they were going to have to be better than their best, and I thought they were. And now we get to see him in 2 days play that Cincinnati team for the last time in a USL setting before Cincy starts playing the big boys in Philly. So, Benefimu, I could gush over. He's 17. He's 6'4", 190. I don't know what they feed people in Michigan, where he's actually from. But he is large, and he's very good, which is scary because he's another center back, Phil.
I call Bethlehem the center back factory for the
We do, and honestly, Jeremy Raffanella was a forward and an academy kid, and he played very well in his cameo appearance of 15 minutes or so. So that was exciting. Really good result. I think Louisville will be disappointed that they didn't play a little better. Credit to the folks that came, because that's crazy. But yeah, no, a solid match, and I'm very happy with the point there.
Definitely should be happy. I think that was great.
And then Real Monarchs SLC keep winning that soccer thing. 2-0 over RGV in the first match of this week.
I still feel like RGV is underperforming, and I feel like they could be doing better with
a bit. Yeah, but honestly, like if you look at Real Monarchs possession stats, one of those, if the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score. And RGV didn't see a whole lot of the ball, so they didn't score.
But I don't think they want the ball. I don't think they care.
They're comfortable without it. I don't like saying that teams don't want the ball, because I know there's a lot of teams that I think we could say, oh, they really don't care about possession. I think it's more that they're comfortable without it and don't mind counterattacking.
Yeah, and I keep saying this, and they just are not dangerous enough on the counterattack. They're not ridiculous enough on the counterattack. I keep comparing them to Charleston of last year, where they need to look like Charleston on the counterattack. because that was the best counterattack in USL last year, and it paid off in the beginning of the season. They need to look like that, and they have the talent to pull it off. Romario Williams and all, they could do it.
Yeah.
What I think will be interesting is Real Monarchs are currently unbeaten at home this year with 6 wins and 1 draw. Yet their next 5 matches in league play, 4 of them are on the road, so it definitely will put them on a test as they go at Stoll Park Rangers and St. Louis to do a Kansas, Missouri trip this week, then come back to host Fresno, who would then go back on the road to Reno, and then top of the table clash against Sacramento on July 7th is definitely one to circle on your calendars.
Nice.
I think the Monarchs are still the best team in the league, bar none. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have the West essentially won by September, and if they have actually literally won the Supporters' Shield before the last month of the season. I mean, I could see them taking a 10, 15-point buffer on everybody at this point.
I'm with you, Pony. Hoping for a draw back
Yeah.
in St. Louis, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, Real Monarchs currently have 31 points in the table right now, and you'd have to go – that's a 5-point gap going back to SC Cincinnati and Portland, who both have 26 points, and first of the East and second in the West.
Yeah, I think they might even be able to get to close to 90 points on the season.
Oh, my gosh. So we're looking at like, is that a record in USL? We need to start looking into
I think that'd definitely be a record.
Yeah, it sounds right. That's
I mean,
it's a 34-game season, so like every season we've been adding 2 games.
yeah, that's true. So it would have to be.
right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
saw
well
this
done.
coming though. They were already this good last year, and then they add Portillo and Chang,
Yep.
and they on top of that they're bringing up more and more academy kids. Their Ledesma is looking really good as a 10, but he's a 17-year-old Ledesma. So,
Yeah, they won it with 67 points last year.
gosh, I mean, seriously,
They're almost halfway to clinching the Shield.
they
If Real Monarchs win out, they'll hit 94 points, which is approaching Manchester City levels of ridiculousness.
I think Real Salt Lake fans need to just start
The
watching.
best team in England and all the world.
No.
Manchester City, not Real Monarchs. Sorry.
The Monarchs, who knows?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, if they play each other, we'll find out.
They play Barcelona.
Listen, they did get their Real from Real Madrid.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Real Monarchs?
FIFA 19, make it happen.
Real.
That's why they're called Real. Real Salt Lake, same way. They're like a
I thought
sister
this was
club of
like
Real
a
Madrid.
totally American thing. But
No. They're like technically an affiliate of Real
Yeah, they're
Madrid.
partnered.
Yeah.
It's not the real Monarchs.
I'm
It
just
doesn't make
Atletico
it any
Sporting
better, but I mean-
Utah United Town FC.
Yeah. Yeah. Mormon SC.
I'm just stealing Ryan Allen Texas club name.
Well, actually, guys, they didn't want me to tell anybody this. They meaning USL D3 folks, but they are literally calling the team in Allen, Texas, the Ryans. And everyone on the team has to have the first name Ryan or the last name Ryan. So Richie Ryan will be there.
Is that it? That's it. That's all they got.
That's all you need, honestly. Just an angry UK guy. All right.
For the first
What do
big
we got
player,
here?
would you sign like Joe Allen from Stoke City?
Yes.
There you
Okay.
go.
I didn't know we could cheat, but yeah, we'll do that. Joe Allen. I guess.
That's
Yeah.
Allen, not Orion.
I know. That's why I'm having some
You're still
problems.
playing in.
They'll
Allen,
sign
Texas.
Ryan Stiles from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
There we
/
go.
the Drew Carey Show. That's a very good reference.
Evan, I love you so much.
You're welcome.
A name no one under 20 will ever have heard before.
No, not. It's probably like who the Ryan McBride. There we go.
B Ryan. The back of his jersey is going to be B.
Ryan McBride. Yeah. Everyone's favorite former Columbus Crew. Besides the whole team. Just kidding. Did it. Yeah, if you want to follow the show, feel free to do so at the USL Show on the Twitter. That would be cool. We also have a website, theuslshow.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes. We're sorry for the first couple. And that's where you can find our Patreon. You can click that box there. It'll take you to it. Feel free to donate to us financially. That would be cool. But you don't have to, which is beautiful because God forbid I make people pay for this before they listen to it. Anyway, also check out our friends at Soccer Loco. Follow that link, buy things. We get a little kickback and you get some cool soccer stuff. What's not to love? If you want to follow Pony, you can do that. He's at Iron Pony Shove. As well as one of the two people on this podcast that writes for Indomitable City Soccer, which I always feel like I'm going to mix up, but I didn't. And that's at Blurbs Indomita on the Twitters. Also find the lovely Ryan at ILM_Ryan, which is my favorite airport in the country. It's actually not. It's Denver's. Thank you for asking. You can find Kev, because I didn't do this the last time that we did this. I didn't actually mention that Kev has a Twitter. He has one. It's exciting. It's at K McCamish PDX. He's also PTK Podcast.
Yep.
No, that's it. It's not at Stumptown Footy. It's not it. There we go. I got all three of them. And then you can find the lovely Phil Grooms at Neve Schulman on Twitter.
That's me.
Yep. That is
Catfish.
him, the catfish guy. It might even just be at Neve. No, you can actually find Phil Grooms at Phil with 2 L's and Grooms with 2 O's on the Twitter, as well as at STL Soccer Report. So, and if for whatever reason you want to hear, see, or interact with me more on a personal level, at Villela, which is my last name, V as in Victor, ILLELLA BSFC on the Twitters. Yeah. So guys, thanks for hanging out. We went a little long this week, but that's because we had a lot of news things and got sidetracked. It happens. Up the Ryans, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Cool. It was a podcast. We did